My name is True Hinds. I'm a writer-director, and this is Will Write for Film. I was 15. I was working at Popeyes in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I had a summer job. Came home one night and it was the strangest thing. I laid on the floor and it was like a bolt of lightning. I looked at my mom. She was sitting on the couch and Child's Play was just coming on TV, and I was like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. And the next day I wrote an 80-page script just without without reading any screenwriting books or anything. I'd always been a writer. I mean, I wrote a book in the 6th grade called The Big Cat That Ate the Worm. It was a weird story, but it was about the underdog. And so I've always enjoyed writing and creating, but that night, that is what kind of solidified, like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm a brown woman. I love being a woman. I love my culture. And sometimes when I watch films of people that look like me, it's kind of like the same thing. So my goal as a filmmaker is to take whatever has been consistent for all of these years and turn it on its head. I want to tell stories that I don't know, that kind of give you a different perspective of us. It's like, oh, I've never seen a sci-fi alien with the brown person, you know, as the lead, or you know, a female lead, a woman of color, or a black person, whatever people choose to identify with. I call us brown because we are brown. So yeah, that's what I stick to. I just like things that are outside of the box. For me, I have a different appreciation for life, and I contribute a large part of that to my 8.5 years in the military. It has definitely influenced my writing. Like, it's different writing about Italy or about Greece and never been there, but actually setting foot on that land and hearing different stories about, oh, well, this is the history of this small town, or this is what the government did. This is how people in our country serve in the military. Like, it has definitely influenced my writing greatly. The military for me was a means of going to college. I didn't have money to pay for school. When I graduated, my good friend from high school, she gave me her check. We both worked at Popeyes. She gave me her check so that I can register for school because I didn't have enough. Like, she gave me her check. I put mine and hers together. I registered for school. It was late registration. I had just missed the cutoff time. I will always remember it was 3:15 and the lady was closing the window. And so that was it for fall semester. And I was like, okay, well, I can't sit home for however many months. Like, I want to go to school. I need to get all of this out of me. And so I joined the military. And that was a means for me to go to college and to, you know, feed this fire that was burning inside of me to be a filmmaker and to be a writer. I just wrapped up in Chicago a project I was working on with 2 ladies from DePaul University. That was incredible. I had a great time doing that. But I'm taking these next couple months to polish my material, to polish my features and my pilot. And this is one feature that I'm really excited about. It's a revisioning of Little Red Riding Hood. And so I'm doing the research for that now. It's about a young brown girl who the government essentially is the big bad wolf, and they're coming after her to harness her abilities. So it's really good. It's Little Red Riding Hood, but it's a different tale of Little Red Riding Hood. There are so many stories that we have to tell. And especially as women, we're not a monolith. Like, we have different brands of black, basically. I'm from New Orleans, and New Orleans has a soul all on its own. It's nothing like it anywhere in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Being from New Orleans and being black is different than being from Kansas City and being black. And then on top of that, being a black woman. The same goes for being from Seattle, Washington. So, or anywhere across the US. So when it comes to these stories that we have to tell, I feel like it's important to fine tune it as much as possible so that, when people watch our stories, when they watch our films, they say, oh, I didn't know that this existed, or it encourages them to dig a little deeper and broaden their minds. Writing is like breathing to me. I cannot not do it. Gosh, I don't ever remember a time when words weren't coming through me, and I don't remember a time where I didn't have a desire to express myself with writing. It's never been a hobby. It's always been something that I just know this is what I have to do with my life, or this is what I'm doing with my life. Writing is a spiritual process for me. That's the best way I can describe it. Even when I think about that experience I had when I was 15, it feels like something just came over me. It like filled me up, and I was like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. End of story. Like, whatever I do in between there, the goal is always to be a filmmaker. And the ideas, they still come to me that way. Like, I'll be driving somewhere and I'm like, oh, what about, and it just takes over me, and it's an obsession. I can sit down and write for 8, 10, 12 hours, not eat, not shower. Thank goodness I live alone, except for my cat. But I see these stories, I see the images, the characters speak to me. If I come up with an idea and it isn't fully realized yet, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna let y'all go do what y'all need to do. Come back to me when you're ready. And when those characters come back, it's a wrap. I can't see anything other than what's happening in their story. So I initially will get out a vomit draft, as they call it in the industry, or just like a first draft, and it's riddled with typos and grammatical errors, but the story is there. And then for me, it depends on the story. So sometimes I'll outline. I don't outline all the time. But if it's a story that has like set me on fire, 12 hours. I'm binge writing. People binge watch, I'm binge writing. And it is an enjoyable experience. I don't have to sit in the house with a bunch of music or I don't even have a TV. I haven't had a TV since 2005 because I have so much going on up here. There are like films or movies that I'll watch on Hulu or Netflix, but I can sit in the house completely quiet and just write. And gosh, it gives me so much joy. I also first AD, I do other things in the film industry, but most of the gigs that I've had has taken me out of Atlanta to work. But Atlanta has given me the peace that I need to write and to work on my own projects and to collaborate with other people. I feel like Los Angeles is good. It's great to kind of get out there and anchor and that's a big deal. You have to make sure you ground yourself when you go out there. You don't want to get lost and caught up in looking around and like, oh, well, this person is doing such and such on this project and this person is working on this film. Like, focus on your own path. There are still a lot of writers' rooms that are in LA, and even shows that film out here, they sometimes pull their writers from Los Angeles. So it's good for that reason, but I feel like the terrain in Atlanta is changing, and Will Packer just started like a writer's room here, and there are other writer's rooms I feel like coming down the pipeline. So Los Angeles is good, but Atlanta is a close second. Like, it's right there. So for writers who feel like they still have to go to LA, do that if you feel like you need to. If it's just like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna tough it out for a year and see what it does, then do that. But I feel like Atlanta has a lot to offer right now when it comes to the film industry, and you can get a lot of what you need right here in Atlanta. I can see a napkin on a table, and the napkin is talking to me. I'm like, oh, what's the story of that napkin? It came from a tree. Who cut it down? What is the person that cut down the tree's thoughts? Like, as he's cutting down the tree, is this something that he wants to do? Is this something that he's doing reluctantly because he has to feed his family who are immigrants from, like, and so it goes into this big universe of who, where, how, when, why, but not just those basic questions. Like, it really dives in. So yeah, I can also hear a title and be like, I feel like titles I sit on a little bit longer, as opposed to if I get an image of something. The image, with the image, the story comes quicker. With the character, I get the image and the story comes quicker. But with the title, I have to sit on those for a little while and try to say, okay, this is the title. Am I going to tell a story exactly what the title is about, or am I going to tell a story completely opposite of what the title is, so that when people watch it, it's more rewarding or fulfilling, something of that nature.